guys, so if my eyes look watery, I haven't been crying. I've just been yawning all day, and I'm sorry if I'm not too coherent in this video, if I start losing track of things, if I repeat myself, because on days like today, I don't usually film, like, at all. I pretty much write off the day completely as a loss and try to do whatever it was I was gonna do tomorrow, the next day, sort of thing. I don't think I have filmed while I'm like this. I don't think any of you will have properly seen... Oh, I said I would yawn! That's how I yawn. I usually try and keep this sort of stuff real private, but today, after it's about 6 years, I was finally diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. It's I've got a couple of things on my phone, like segments to talk about, because I really don't want this to go on too long. Already this is just rambling. This is talk. It just makes me feel so fucking useless. I can't even do sentences when I'm like this. I've had chronic fatigue syndrome for about 6 years, since I was 17, but I only got diagnosed with it today, and there's a reason for that, which I will go into a bit later. But first, what the hell is chronic fatigue syndrome? Chronic fatigue syndrome, otherwise known as CFS, or otherwise known as ME, which stands for like something really long, which I can't pronounce. Just because I have it doesn't mean I should know how to say it, right? You look it up. How? Don't ever expect me to be able to say that on a day like today. Chronic fatigue syndrome is, it's what you would imagine it to be. It is chronic fatigue. It means that you are constantly mentally and physically fatigued. It's not a case of, oh, I only got a couple of hours sleep, I'm a bit tired today, but I can still do everything I need to do. It's not just feeling tired. It is feeling exhausted, completely wiped out, regardless of how much sleep you get, regardless of what you eat, regardless of how much exercise you do. It doesn't matter. You are never rested. You never wake up feeling refreshed. It is a lifelong illness. Once you get it, there is no known cure. There are treatments that make it easier, but they don't know what specifically causes it, and they don't know how to cure it. And you would imagine that me being diagnosed with that would make me really upset, and you'd think that I would be devastated, but to be honest with you, I'm fucking relieved. It's been one of the best mornings of my life finding out that I have this, because, well, I'll go into it properly later, but for a long time, I thought it was just my fault. I'm really crying, jeez. I thought that I was lazy. And so did everyone in my fucking life. And I blame myself. Anyway, so chronic fatigue syndrome has quite a few symptoms, as well as just being tired all the time. Some days you can have energy, and you can get up, not refreshed, but you can cope with it, and you can be like, okay, well, I'm feeling sleepy, my muscles ache. Like today, today is a tolerable day for me. I can just about sort of think, and maybe I can edit. I'll be able to edit this video, and that'll be fine. So some days I'm fine, and some days you will just have these sort of mild symptoms, and then other days you will be so exhausted that even getting out of bed feels like you're running a marathon. You will be out of breath, your muscles will feel tight like you have already just climbed Everest, and you're just really tired. I get that, not too often, not really often. If I've had like a really long day where I'm in London walking around, or I've had to do some heavy lifting, or like the other day where I built a sofa, then the next day and maybe the day after that I will just be completely just wiped out, and I won't be able to do anything, and I have to write those days off. It's not just about me anyway. The reason I'm putting this on my main channel is because I want people who feel the same way to realise that possibly it's not their fault and they're not just lazy, and that there is possibly an explanation for it, because no one told me. And if I can help one person think all of this makes sense now, and for them to go to their doctor, then that's what this is for, honestly. So like I said, as well as being exhausted, you can get headaches, you can just generally feel really, really unwell, lots of muscle pain and joint pain. You just feel like you've walked across a desert, you've walked up a mountain all the time. And it also, some people have it really severe and some people have it quite mild. So there's pretty much mild, moderate and severe. I am pretty much in the moderate section. I thought for a while I was mild, but I was talking to my doctor and he said, no, you have moderate CFS. It's weird calling it a CFS. It sounds like a sofa company. So if I accidentally say DFS in this video, that wouldn't surprise me, because it's not the worst thing I've done when I'm feeling really fatigued. So yes, feeling exhausted, not just tired, completely flat out, no matter how much sleep you get, muscle ache, headaches, joint pain, drowsiness, just lethargy, just feeling drained. And there's no cure for it, and it sucks. Obviously, like I said, some people have it so severe, and they are bedridden and they can't actually get out of bed because it will take too much energy. They can't brush their teeth without feeling like they need to pass out. I don't have it that bad, but I have it bad enough to, I would say, like, quite badly impact my life. I completely lost my train of thought again. That's another symptom, losing track of thought and just being really absent-minded. And it feels nice to know that I'm not just really absent-minded. I pretty much have general symptoms, which I've already just explained, like absent-mindedness, I get headaches, I get joint pain, I get like sore muscles without bruising or swelling, and just feeling like I could lay in bed all day and just sleep. And quite often I have to take naps in the afternoon. Which sounds like a luxury, doesn't it? Oh, well, at least you have a job where you can take naps all day. This ain't a fucking holiday. For any people who say, oh, well, it's sad that you have it, but some people have it worse, I know some people have it worse. That doesn't make me feel better. It has affected my life in many ways, and the reason I'm making a video about it now is because I'm diagnosed with it. I've known that I've had it for a long time, for about a year. Like, when I first found out about it, I was like, this is what I have. But there was no way that I wanted to talk about it or say that I have it, because a medical professional has not said that I have it, and I would not want to put myself in the same group of people who have been diagnosed and basically feel like I was insulting them or anything like that. Now I feel like I can talk about it, and it's a relief. So thirdly, I want to talk about how I developed chronic fatigue syndrome. A lot of doctors, well, no one really knows how it's caused specifically, but there seems to be a pattern of a lot of chronic illnesses, but specifically chronic fatigue syndrome, starting from like a problem with the immune system going a bit wrong. So if you've had something like glandular fever or a really bad allergic reaction, after you've recovered from those, you're never well rested again. I don't know my exact cause, but I felt tired during my last year of school, but I believe that was just me not sleeping very well. I think it was when I was 17. I worked in McDonald's while I was in college. Just as I started that's how I know how old I was, by the way. It's got nothing to do with McDonald's. But just as I started, I developed tonsillitis, and I was given penicillin. As people know now, I am allergic to penicillin. I didn't know that, obviously, I wouldn't have taken it. I'm allergic to penicillin, and it caused a massive allergic reaction. And I do not remember being well rested at all after I got over that. I'm not saying that is my cause, but that is most likely what caused me to develop chronic fatigue syndrome. A lot of people do get it after they've suffered from glandular fever and some other illnesses, but it's usually from that sort of thing where the immune system has gone and doesn't know what's going on. So fourthly, I want to talk about how it affects my life and how it has affected my life, because the last thing I want people to take from this video is, oh, well, you only feel tired, just work through it, or, oh, I feel sleepy too sometimes, just sleep more, you know, or lucky you just get to sleep all day, what a terrible illness. That's the last thing I want from this, because let me tell you, having chronic fatigue syndrome is fucking life. It just affects your life completely. It negatively impacts everything that I want to do. And like I said, for a long time, I just blamed myself because I didn't know about chronic fatigue syndrome, and I thought I was just lazy. I thought that I was just unfit when I couldn't keep up with other people when I was like, you know, running to catch a train or something. I thought I was just unfit. And it turns out that, yeah, you know what, maybe I am a little tiny bit unfit, but I can say that it's not all my fault. So basically, like I said, I take a lot of naps, usually once a day. And before anyone says, try not taking a nap and going through the day, don't think I haven't tried everything to alleviate this feeling, because I don't want it. You can have it. So I take afternoon naps quite often. I'm not gonna take one today, and I didn't take one yesterday, but like I did take one the day before that. So it's like every few days I have to just rest for about an hour. Sometimes like 4 hours. I'll take a nap now and wake up like 8 o'clock in the evening, which completely disturbs my sleep pattern, which is another symptom of having chronic fatigue syndrome. And also I go to America quite often, so I get jet lag, which further disturbs my sleep pattern. That it's something that I have to do. Poor me going to California, right? Poor me. This is the thing, this video is not about pity, it's about me trying to explain my situation, why I don't upload as often as some of you may like, and just to share this piece of my life with you now that it's official. So not only do I sleep a lot, and if I only get about 4 or 5 hours sleep a day, if I only get 4 or 5 hours sleep that night, I will be awful for the next day, and I won't be able to get anything done. I won't be able to edit, I won't be able to film, I won't be able to do anything but sit on the sofa, or like I won't even be able to probably make myself food. And it has got worse since I moved out. I moved out last year, last April, and since then I've had to, it's gonna sound like I was a brat, and I was, kind of. Like, I have to do my own washing up, I have to make my own food if I want something, if I want to change, you know, make my bed, I have to make my bed. This sort of stuff, like little tiny things that maybe your parents could help you out with around the house. I now have to do all by myself, and that's not a bad thing whatsoever. I'm grateful for the independence, I'm lucky that I was able to move out, and I'm not complaining about the housework. All I mean is that it has been more physically demanding on my body, and I have got worse in the past year. I have got a lot more fatigued than I was. It also used to affect my jobs. I was at one department store cafe for 2 years, and the amount of times that I got in trouble for losing things, forgetting to do temperature checks, being rude to people because I'm so tired that I snap. I nearly got fired from that job more times than I turned up, probably. And it was a physically demanding job. I'd have to put all the tables out in the morning, I'd have to run around, I ran the kitchen, and it was shattering. And I don't know how I did it. I know that I'm a lot worse now. I think it's just developed more in the past year. I don't know how I did it. I think it's because I felt like I had to. That was my job and I had to do it. But I used to get in a lot of trouble in that job. And then the other job that I had after that, where I was an assistant manager, I ended up feeling so tired. This was around New Year's Eve 2012, I think Christmas Eve, something like that. I actually got made redundant. I got fired, basically, because I took my hours down to 3 hours a day, which as an assistant manager, that's pretty bad. And I didn't see a point in keeping me, so they fired me because I didn't have the energy anymore. I just didn't. It comes in waves. Sometimes I'll be more energetic, and other times I will just crash for months. Now is one of those crashes. I have no energy to really do much. My boss used to say to me, you know, you always say you're tired, but I work 60 hours a week. I do more hours than you. I'm tired, but I just work through it, okay? I know you're tired. It doesn't matter. This is your job, and you have to do it. And I know that she was being my boss, but I was angry. I was so angry because I felt like I physically couldn't do anything. And even mentally, I couldn't work out how much, like, you know, someone said, oh, how much are your jacket potatoes? I couldn't get it in my head. And people would feel, I would be treated like I was stupid. And like I said, I would be snappy and grumpy because I was so tired. People were just thinking that I was rude. And I want to say now that if I've ever met any of you at conventions or when I'm in London or in the street or whatever, if I've ever seemed a bit off or distant or short, I'm so sorry. It is probably that you've caught me on a very, very tired day. Well, to be honest with you, everything's a tired day, but you've probably caught me where I'm feeling very low. So not only did it affect my jobs and I had no one in my job that believed me in that I was feeling tired no matter what I did, and they just accused me of being lazy. It also affects my friendships with people. I'm introverted as it is. I prefer sitting indoors. And half of that is because I am kind of cripplingly shy these days and I don't like talking to people. But the other half of it is that I don't have the energy to muster up and just go out for a night. I can't do a night out. I go to sleep at like midnight latest. I can't do all nights. I can't do parties. I can't socialise for hours on end. I just can't face it because I know it's going to be exhausting. And I know that I'm going to feel awful in the morning. So I don't really go out too much. And I laugh about it, but if I don't laugh, I'll just cry. So it also affects my relationship, quite honestly, sometimes, where, you know, you're tired and you snap. You don't have any energy to be a really loving person. And sometimes I take things out on Luke, my boyfriend, quite a lot. And my parents, I snap at my parents a lot because I'm tired. I haven't quite managed the whole anger thing when I'm tired. I want people to know that if they're going through the same thing where they just feel tired and there's no end to it, look into chronic fatigue syndrome. When I found out about it, it was like a weight off my shoulders because, like I said, I stopped blaming myself. I stopped feeling lazy. I used to make videos called I Am Lazy and things like that because I genuinely thought that I was just really lazy, but I want to work and I've always wanted to work and I want to do a lot more than I am doing. For instance, I shaved my head last year in August in exchange for, like, you know, people donating and claiming perks of, like, you know, me making an Ask Emma video for people who donated like £100 or whatever. Have I got around to doing that yet? No. I've got like maybe halfway, not even that, on that, and I feel so guilty about that. Making videos, I make videos every couple of weeks sometimes. Sometimes I'll make like 3 in a week because I'll be feeling like I have more energy and I make the most of it. And then sometimes I'll just make none for a while and I've forgotten where I was completely. On to absent-mindedness, I put my phone in the fridge the other day and couldn't find it for about 6 hours. It was in the fridge next to the peppers, so, and also peppers shouldn't have been in the fridge. So one of the main problems with being diagnosed is that it is invisible. It's an invisible syndrome. You can't see it. You can see someone yawning, but you can just say, oh, well, you're just tired. Blood tests will come back normal because doctors will not try and diagnose you with chronic fatigue syndrome straight away. They will try and look at underlying causes such as anemia and depression. I had to have blood tests. I went to one doctor and he said, take a blood test. So I had a blood test, came back normal, and he went, we'll just take some paracetamol for your muscle pain and come back and see me. Needless to say, it was clear in his face that he didn't believe me. So I changed doctor. And I was very fortunate that he understood. But for a long time, between seeing the first doctor and the second doctor, there was months between it. Like, it was September when I saw the other doctor, because I was so afraid that this doctor was going to turn around and say, just have another blood test. You know, there's no such thing as chronic fatigue syndrome or whatever, because no one has ever believed me when I've said that I think I have it. No one has ever believed me. And today was a really good day, and I'm happy about it. So as much as you might think this is a really sad video, no, I'm actually really happy, because now I know it's not my fault, and I can say to people, I was right. I was right that there was something wrong. So the doctor will test for other things, and that's normal. They tested for glandular fever, and they tested my renal tests. I think it's the kidneys, I don't know. Blood tests for iron and things like that. They make you do a pee test. I don't know why they made me do a pee test, but I peed in a cup. And finally, this new doctor, I explained this to him. I just said, look, I've done all the tests. It's normal. I have these symptoms. I didn't mention chronic fatigue syndrome to him. I said, I have these symptoms. They're not going away. And at the end, I said, I believe that these symptoms lead to the conclusion that I have chronic fatigue syndrome. And he said, that's exactly what I was thinking. And I started crying because he was the first person that actually I felt like he was on my side. So that's good. I would say that if you believe you have it and you have tests and they come back clear, don't leave it there. Fight and say, okay, that came back clear, now what are you going to test me for? Because I think you know in your heart what it is. I feel really relieved and I feel really sad now. I feel like I'm going through a roller coaster of emotions. Maybe I should have waited to make this video, but I wanted to share this with you because I feel like it affects my YouTube videos. So essentially it also, as a byproduct, affects you. And it's a big part of my life now. Officially, it's now a big part of my life. And I've struggled for 6 years and the past year has been worse. But now it's about working with doctors to find medication for things that have been... for instance, the doctors put me on some medication that is used to treat epilepsy, but he said, obviously you don't have epilepsy, but it is known to help with the feelings of fatigue. You know, it's part of me now and I just deal with it, but I'm not defined by it. I just wanted to, yeah. I feel weird saying that when I've literally made a video called I have chronic fatigue syndrome. But I'm going to leave it there because this video's gone on long enough, but I'm really happy because I'm not lazy, and I'm not just useless, and I'm not just unfit, and I'm not just absent-minded. I have a genuine reason as to why I felt that way, and it feels good to know that I was right. So, thank you for watching this terribly long video, and if you have any questions, I'll try and answer them in the comments below. Bye! How do you end a video about your syndrome? How do you say goodbye in a video like that? Oh, whatever.